Welcome back to Formula One Power Rankings. Today I will rank the 20 drivers after the Bahrain Grand Prix before the Saudi Grand Prix this weekend. Yesterday we had the Teams edition and we start in P20, which is third video in a row, Liam Lawson. And let's start with the positive. I think the last two races were better than the first two. He's still way slower than his teammate, but now his teammate is not Max Verstappen anymore, but a rookie. And this weekend he decided to get involved in collisions with other drivers in Bahrain. And I think he's right now on pretty much low confidence, which is not good in a confidence track like Saudi, where we are heading now. In P19 we have Jack Doohan, who had his best event so far, missed Q3 I think by a blink, was on course for the 9th position, so for points until the safety car. Got pretty much unlucky there, but I think he has to score these points if he wants to save his seat, because Colapinto is ready, as I mentioned in the last videos. So, and with a positive, he's speed-wise not that far behind Pierre Gasly. And in P18 we also have still Carlos Sainz, who reached Q3 for the first time in the Williams car. Had a really great start and was running in P6 I think, and he lost a couple of positions against better cars. Had a really unfortunate collision with Tsunoda, which was not his fault. And then he had a big hole in the side pod and had to retire the car. I think with Carlos Sainz you have to say the speed is there, he just needs to convert into a good result. And in P17 we have Gabriel Bortoleto, the first driver who dropped a place, but not to his own fault. I think he was ranked too high before. Another weekend without doing a mistake. It's normal, I think, that Nico Hülkenberg is getting up to speed a bit faster with his experience, and I think Bortoleto's job for the rest of the season is to learn from Hülkenberg as much as possible and use 2025 to gain experience for the future. And in P16 we have the second Sauber driver, which is Hülkenberg. He went to Q2 with a lap which was pretty much illegal, but the stewards noticed too late. Qualified I think in P13, but because his lap from Q1 got deleted, he started in P16, had a solid race until he finished in P13, but then I think his floor was too thin and he got disqualified, just like Hamilton in China. I think you can say he's getting up to speed with the car, but he, I think, has to focus on the process within the team, focus on feedback for 2026, and then Sauber will be on a good way. In P15 we have Lance Stroll, who lost 3 places. I think it's fair to say that Aston Martin is nowhere pace-wise, but Stroll is still much slower than Alonso, I think. He lost all his confidence after Japan, and after we are heading to Jeddah now, where he crashed before, so I think he has not the best projection for this weekend. In P14 we have his teammate Fernando Alonso, who gained a place compared to last week. I think he did another solid weekend without doing anything special. I think the car is so slow that even Alonso cannot drag it into the points. And like I said in the team video, I think he and the team should fully focus on the development for 2026, the processes, how they get the performance on the car, because it's basically his last chance to win a championship again. In P13 we have Isaac Hadjar, who dropped also 2 places from last weekend. I think he had a pretty quiet weekend without doing anything wrong. He missed Q3 in comparison to last week where he reached it. He is right now consistently faster than Lawson, which is good. He is on the right track, but I think in general the V Cup did not work really well this weekend. P12 we have Pierre Gasly, who gained 2 places compared to last week, and he did a mega performance in quali with P4 after the penalty to Kimi Antonelli. And he did a good conversion as well, because he finished in P7. He scored the first points for the team this season, and he almost held Max Verstappen behind for the entire race. He only passed him in the last lap. I think this race he showed he was by far the quickest midfield driver. If he shows the consistency from here, I think he can also finish best of the rest for the season. P11 we have Yuki Tsunoda, who dropped again 2 places but did a solid performance. Overall he was much closer to Verstappen than Lawson ever was, and scored his first points in a Red Bull in only his second race, and also in a race where the Red Bull was not really there performance-wise. I think he needs to continue with consistency, finish in the points every race. This should be the goal in the first place, and then stay ahead of the midfield. Yeah, so at least P8 should be the goal, I think. In P10, we have Esteban Ocon, who gained the 3 places he lost last week back. He, performed impressive undercut strategy. I think the safety car in the end helped to bring it home. But all in all, it was a mega recovery after the crash in Q2. And now he had 2 really good races and 2 really bad races. So I think the word he's looking for is consistency, to perform continuously as good as he did in Bahrain, and then he will stay there in these rankings. In P9, we have his teammate Oliver Behrmann, who dropped 1 place, but it was not really to his own performance. He did the 3rd consecutive points finish in a row, did a great recovery after a really bad quali with last place. Had a mega start. I think you could saw like a reel of his start on Instagram. And we are heading to Saudi now, which is the first track he knows in an F1 car, so he has driven there before. And last year was pretty quick in the Ferrari for only his first race, and also with the late call after FP2, I think. So let's see if he scores more points and maybe even can replicate the P7 from last season. Of course, this was in a Ferrari, so it will be difficult. And speaking of Ferrari, in P8 we have Lewis Hamilton, who gained 2 places from last week, did a solid race after a, let's say mid-quali. So like last year, I think he needs to pick up his quali pace, but he's starting to collect points. He just finished behind Leclerc, even if he was a bit further behind him on track. And I think he still needs a bit of understanding of the car, which, like I said before, Saudi is maybe not the best track to gain this. So I expect him to have difficulties in Saudi. In P7, we have Hamilton's successor, Kimi Antonelli, who stayed there from last week. He showed impressive speed in the qualifying and in the race. He did some brilliant overtakes during the race, but he also lost a few positions in lap 1. And due to no fault of his own, he was on the wrong tire after the safety car. I think you can mark this weekend in Bahrain as a learning weekend, because in the end he didn't get points, but you have to say he's so quick already after only 4 races in this car, and just needs to continue to learn and performance will come. In P6 we have Alex Albon, who lost 1 place compared to last week. I think he lost the chances to score points in this event with the Q1 exit, which was only a mistake by the stewards or the FIA, but I think he should also not have been in this position in the first place. So even if he qualified P15, he was still P15 in Q1, and I think right now he should be around P10, so it was not a good lap. But even after this incident in quali, he was close to the points during the race, but the safety car timing ruined his race and was quite unfortunate. First weekend without points, but I think you can also say he was quick enough to reach them. He only had like bad circumstances. In P5 we have Charles Leclerc, who gained 1 place, and he started from the first row, was in the hunt for the podium for the whole race, but the safety car was bad for his strategy. I think he gets closer to the top every weekend, and also in the last 2 events he gained his quali strength back, and he showed why he's one of the best qualifiers in Formula 1. In P4 we have Lando Norris, who right now is not one of the best qualifiers in Formula 1, at least right now. I think last year he pretty much was. I think he got like 8 poles. But he had another bad qualifying, had a really great start, but was not in his grid spot, so he received a 5-second penalty. But in that car, nevertheless, he should finish at least P2 in every race. But as a positive, you can say he at least recovered to P3. In P3 in the rankings, we're reaching the podium. We have George Russell, who gained 1 place compared to last week. He outperformed his car in both qualifying and the race. The electronics, I think, were critically damaged in the end of the race, but he still managed to keep Norris behind. And if this Mercedes gets decent upgrades, he is right there in the championship fight, I think. He maximizes points where he can right now. And speaking of maximizing. In P2 we have Max Verstappen, who lost 1 position compared to last week, but I think it was only due to his car, which was nowhere this weekend. It had horrible balance, the brakes were so difficult to drive, but yeah, you can also say the difference to Tsunoda was probably not as big as usual. The strategy and the pit stops were catastrophe, and he was even in P20 at one point, and somehow he managed to recover to P6, which was amazing. I think he also gained a bit from the safety car, but not too much. All in all, I think this weekend showed that he's only in the championship fight if Red Bull is able to deliver him a decent car. Yeah, and speaking of a decent car, the man in P1 definitely has one right now. Of course, it's Oscar Piastri, who gained 1 position from last week. I think this week was the most dominant win of the season so far. And if you compare every session, I think he was as fast or faster than his more experienced teammate Lando Norris in every session so far this season. And after the first 4 races, if you just consider the speed and the consistency, I have to say right now he's the favorite to win the Drivers' World Championship. And right now, of course, he was never in this position before. So we have to see how calm and relaxed he will be in a championship fight. So this was the power rankings driver editions prior to Saudi. We will update, of course, after Saudi again, have a 2-week break. So the video will come before the next race. And see you guys then. Enjoy the race. Bye bye.